you know, I don't know if we all have come here from different places, from our day, from traffic, from other meetings, from work, from whatever, from family, relationships, whatever else is going on in our lives, that coming here and having that as a center, bringing us to focus on what this is really about serving humanity, about how Dorothy said to be part of an ever-advancing civilization and be a part of making a change. It just has such a huge impact on how the consultation goes.
Another thing that we do after prayer is we communicate with each other and share what resonated with us from our own prayer or from somebody else's prayer. And that helps us too.
This sharing of what resonated with us takes us to a different level of communicating with one another. Where are we? What moves us? What really, it's almost like being an instrument, and we get tuned to one another, and then we become an orchestra. And once we are an orchestra, and that orchestra is really, definitely we know that is responding to the greatest conductor that is really moving the whole universe. So therefore we become an instrument of his will, and no longer we look at our own shortcomings. We don't look at how small, how incapable, how overwhelmed we are, because we are just the instrument. And that instrument is really in the hand of someone who knows how to move it. So we surrender to that, and then it's all joy, and it's all really, it is a joyous exchange. And I have to say to you, sometimes we have so much on our plate. It takes, sometimes it might be 5-6 hours of consultation, planning, depending on what has happened. And we become a little bit more tilting in the direction of being efficient. Like, oh no, we need to be efficient, how can we have time to? But when I see that Susan, Natalie, Valerie, they say, no, let's say our prayers first, because based on our own experience, we know that we go, once we get together, we become one, we go faster, we go more efficient. It's like a different spirit. So by our own experience, we know that it is not efficient nor effective to cut it. As it just doesn't make sense according to the laws of the way we manage time. But it's like having a saw. You want to cut a big tree. If you don't have your saw really sharpened, it's going to be taking a long time to cut that tree. So it's just, we know it by experience that we need to do that.
First thing, they're beautiful.
Can we leave the questions at the end?
Okay, sure.
I really appreciate that. I wondered if we can do a little bit of this reflection on each other's prayers, because this time we have very small and short prayers, but sometimes they're long. So let's see what we come up with.
Okay, I'll start. So one idea that really stood out to me when speak up. Okay. One idea that really stood out to me when hearing all of our prayers and the songs was the idea of being radiant and just wishing that for the children that we serve. Just picture the smiling faces and how powerful that could be, because it's contagious. And I really liked in Natalie's prayer the first few lines. Refresh and gladden my spirit. Like that. Yeah. It just seemed like a wave of fresh air, like so calming, like coming over you. I just really like that.
I guess going off of Susan's idea of being radiant, I liked what she said, or in her prayer that she chose, it said from something like from material make me spiritual. And I really, that idea of like transformation, I've always really liked that concept. And also in Keyvan's prayer, make of me a shining lamp and a brilliant star. Yeah, it's like that radiance that Susan was talking about. But that's what I want to become. Like I want to transform into that light and somehow get there. And with Natalie's, I really liked I leave all my affairs in thy hand. I've always really liked that prayer. Like from the very beginning, we've been there since like the beginning. Like when we met Keyvan like 4 years ago. But yeah, I really liked that part of just like letting go and letting God who controls and the universe at his will, just letting him handle it. I don't know if that's selfish. But yeah, I really liked that.
Yeah, the part that really stood out to me from the prayer that I shared was that I will be a happy and joyful being. So it's really interesting. It's really going along with what Valerie and Susan have already shared. And the images that I had when I was reading it was first of all of us here, like just radiant smiles, being happy and joyful beings. And then just reflecting on what it takes for someone to be a happy and joyful being, because it's not very simple. You can't just make people be happy. So those are my reflections.
What I like to add, they're very familiar with the prayer that I chanted from Abdul Baha. Happened to be one of the prayers that we have processed it many times with the kids actually. And the reason is because it came to me in a counseling session with a mother who came to me and said, she's Persian, she was Muslim, and she had an 8-year-old. And she says, Keyvan, I really would like for you to do something for my son. He doesn't believe in anything, and I'm worried about it. And I want him to have something to hang on to at times of difficulty, and they were having a difficulty in their marriage. And so I said, okay, this is a Muslim not believing in God kid. So what am I supposed to? I said, okay. So I had to tell him a story. So I'm going to tell a story because stories are the students that we work with. They love stories, and they really take the story and they learn it right away and they can tell it again. So this is the story I shared with them. I said, one day the 3 leprechauns were walking out in the field, and they got very tired and they were very hungry, and they wanted to find a refuge somewhere, and they saw in the distance a little hut, and the light was on, and so they came and they knocked at the door, and there was a old couple in there. And they said, can we come in? It's really cold outside. And they're very excited to the concept of helping and serving the community.
Yeah, and whenever I speak to him, he's always just about helping the students and helping them become their best.
Great.
Okay, well, I'm Natalie Vigil, and I am a cousin of Valerie. My mother is sister. Okay, so I was actually out of this bunch the first one who became acquainted with Keyvan, and at that time it was when I was a student at Scripps College in Claremont, so that's where I graduated from. Yeah, at that time I was really looking for direction and spiritual guidance, and that's really what I went to Keyvan for. I knew I wanted to help others, but not to the extent of like the commitment and dedication that I have today. So that's in the past 4 years since I've known her, something that has become just a huge part of my life. And I think that Valerie shared a lot about the other aspects, such as acting or music or community, because between her and her brother, because everything that we do in our lives, it's with the same purpose. So that's the same thing that the students that we work with, which now we're heading more into working with high school students to build mentors and role models and people who really have that purpose and passion and desire to serve in whatever fields they go into. Going in with that type of mentality and attitude, like we were saying before, is something that I just know is so important. And something that, like Keyvan mentioned earlier, is that when I first graduated from college, I was working within a community organization in Pomona for adolescent alcohol and drug prevention. And something that I realized very quickly was that just because people work in a service-oriented field does not necessarily mean they also have that purpose and passion. Which was something that made it difficult, like the styles of meditation that Keyvan mentioned earlier. I noticed very quickly that a lot of the work became planning activities, planning events, and go, 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 let's get this done, and not really taking the time to have a passion and purpose. And I also see that within the school, from feedback that we've heard from from teachers within the school or other schools or staff, that it's something that is difficult for everyone to have. So creating that environment even within a team, which is not so simple. So also apart from the service, I decided to leave that job, which was in the service field, and work also with my family, which has a tax office. So I'm a manager of our tax office, which is also in Pomona, so I'm there all the time. I'm learning a lot, hiring, training, keep learning myself, and I use all of the principles that we learn through our project to take that back to my team at work and continue developing. So I see that my work, whatever field it's in, goes hand in hand with the work that I'm doing to serve. And I've come to the point where no matter what happens, what crazy hours I have, right now it's tax season, which is I'm working like 12 hours a day. So today it was like very difficult to come here, but and Monday through Sunday. So right now, but like my time that I have at the school, I would not give that up for anything. And the time that I have serving, I would never give it up.
Hi everyone, my name is Susan Selfridge, and I also graduated from Cal Poly Pomona, like Valerie. She's my classmate, and I studied psychology as well. And Valerie is the reason why I'm here today. She introduced me to Keyvan and Natalie and the service project that we're doing, and I love it. It's such a great opportunity, and I'm so grateful to have it, to be able to empower, which is really what I want to do with my life, empower others to become the best they can be. So along with doing that and serving the children, it's also been a personal journey as well, being introduced to the Baha'i faith and just having insight into ideas that I always knew but I didn't really have a name for, and just so, and constantly learning, improving myself so that I can be a better role model and mentor to those that I want to serve.
I would like to take the time to invite them to our cluster groups. We have in Encino and Baha'i Center downtown about 200 students your age, which are doing the same thing that you're doing. I would love to have you speak about what you're doing, and we can learn from you as much as we could maybe help you. We are looking for animators, what we call teachers, because we have a system called RUI, which is the books of our RUI classes. But we also have 6, 7, 8-year-olds that we want to teach. You girls are so beautiful that I would love to have you come and talk to our clusters, they're all your age, and they meet about every other month. And I'll make sure I talk to both the Baha'i and LA, you could go to either one, and you can come and talk. Because I think what you're doing through her is basically something we could learn for us. Because there's a lot of things going to be going on and announcements made this year at the Baha'i. We are now in 500 countries. We also will make an announcement in the next month, and I believe the House of Justice will do it. Our membership will go up to almost 10 million. And it will be a proven number. So what I'm saying is we're growing, but we need people like you to help us.
There would be no way I could even conceive of going and doing anything with the kids without the example that I have. I deeply believe that you cannot teach something that you don't have yourself. It's impossible. You cannot teach love if you don't understand what love is. You cannot teach service if you don't really understand what it is. For me, what I see in them is that, as exactly what they said, that Valerie said, and Natalie said, and Susan, this is an internal and inherent attraction of them towards serving. And the way, as they serve, they become more in love with what they're doing, and they see the effects of it. So it's really an exchange and a growth that we all go together, including myself. It gives me tremendous joy to see their conviction, despite of all the distraction that young lives have. They have a very steeled will and commitment to this cause. So I just feel so fortunate that we, with this team, we are able to just be committed. Just be committed and find a way, and together we just, every time we get together, we find a solution somewhere. Yes.
Can I add something?
Absolutely,
I want to make sure you understand this. I would imagine sometimes with our students and with the issues that do one-on-one, and I wanted you to know how much we appreciate. You are saving lives. Be inspired kids. You are saving lives if you want. It's a huge thing you do not want to do. On behalf of the board.
I wish we had all superintendents like you, because your appreciation, publicly expressed for these young people, this is inspiring to me, because I, like you, was, during periods of my life, someone who modeled something I wanted to be, and loved me as a person, and not because of my family or anybody else. You could give no higher compliment, and you just